I worked as a topless maid for one day. What I saw terrified me. I have good news and bad news. My boss, Chester said. If there is a more butthole-clenching phrase said at a struggling company during a sudden all-hands meeting, I don't know what it is. Thing was, Chester didn't need to say a single syllable. His slouched shoulders, pale earthed face, and hangdog expression told us the entire story. The company was going under, was an app primarily focused on finding local farmer markets, something the world was clamoring for. It could have been if Chester hadn't started tinkering. Things went south when Chester insisted on including an AI tool in the app. He said it would give us an edge on FRMMRKT+, our rival. He kept repeating to us that this was the wave of the future. In the nicest ways possible, we tried to tell him how stupid this idea was. AI was still too new and unreliable. The app would lose all value if the AI screwed up and told people they could buy pumpkins in July at a market that didn't exist. He wouldn't budge. Worse, the company we hired had a subpar product. Jailbreaking the AI was too easy. Asking a couple of specific, open-ended questions jumbled its brain. Instead of telling us where local farmers' markets were located, it gave us instructions on how to build a bomb with carrot sticks of dynamite. As we stared at his sullen face, we understood that the wave of the future broke on what? A disaster beach. Despite not needing to, Chester still went ahead and told us just how screwed we were. It wasn't pretty. His dumb mistakes had blown up the company. Based on what he laid out, those mistakes fell squarely in the "oh Jesus, did I really just bone my friend's dad?" area of mistake-land. You can't come back from that. For the record, I've never done that. Not that there weren't a few. Well, never mind, I'm getting off track. The point was, the company was done, kaput. Our last paychecks would go out this week, and they'd be prorated for only the days we worked this month. Translation, less money. Wasn't sure if that was legal, but there wouldn't even be a company to sue as of 10 o'clock this morning. While I maintained a cool girl aesthetic, I was Chernobyling inside. I could already barely afford my crappy apartment now. A small last paycheck and no job prospects were catastrophic. As I packed up my cubicle, I grabbed anything that wasn't nailed down. You can judge, but have you seen the price of toilet paper recently? I did what I always did in times of despair or triumph, joy, confusion, etc. I called my best friend, Alice, Ace. She hated her name, always had a sympathetic ear, and gave historically terrible advice. I love her, but she's more of a free spirit, finding inspiration everywhere, not dwelling too much on the future. Living in the moment. I worked for a farmer's market app. I put contact paper down on my shelves when I move into a new apartment. I drop a pin to Ace whenever I go on a first date. Long story short, if Ace suggested it, I did the opposite. That place sucked, Ace said, chomping on a croissant while on the phone. Chester was weird and he would have killed 10 farmers to get a date with you. I laughed. I needed that. If he kills all the farmers, what becomes of their markets? Maybe he can go work for one. Selling artisanal soap or handmade, turquoise jewelry, or like fedoras. He struck me as a guy with a lot of fedoras lying around. I laughed again. I'm so screwed. Doll, you just got fired. You can say fucked. No, I can't. You know that. This the whole what if my dead grandma heard me say that thing again. It's ingrained in me at this point. I sighed. What am I going to do? My rent is due in a week. I'll have enough to cover, but nothing left over. Oh my god, I got IT. Ace yelled. I know how you can make great money super quick. No big commitments, either. Don't say OnlyFans, I said, moving my head into my hands. Though, would that be so bad? She giggled. God no. You got the goods, but not the personality to be a big earner. They like bubbly, or, if the guys are rich, a dom attitude. Plus, you take horrid photos. You missed the day when every girl learned how to pose for a picture, she said, her mouth full of croissant. Maybe you could be a dom. Ace, focus. This great money-making idea is be a topless, made with me. I didn't respond right away because I went into a fugue state. The only sounds I heard were Ace chomping on French baked goods, and my blood rushing to my cheeks. I hadn't even removed my top yet, and I was already blushing. Grandma would be so angry. Did you stroke out? Topless maid. There were supposed to be more words, but my brain fogged like a coastal city. I just made word-adjacent noises. I didn't tell you about it. No, I yelled into my phone. When the heck did you start that? 3 weeks ago. It's part of my rotation of quasi-sex work-related jobs. I'm cleaning up. Literally, I deadpanned. Haha, she mocked. But, seriously, it's the easiest money I've ever made. Some dude pays you $200 to clean 2 of their rooms for 2 hours. You don't even have to do a decent cleaning job, either. I don't. I didn't even know this was a thing. Who hires topless maids? Single dads, older guys, some creepers, she listed off. They just want to watch some young thing bounce around and sweep up. I think it's tradwife shit or something. I don't know, and I don't care because these guys pony up a lot. This can't be safe. Nothing about it sounds safe. Are you safe? I am. The company gives you a bracelet that calls the cops in case something bad happens. Plus, they send a big, burly guy to keep watch from the street. Ours is Brendan. He's a dork and sweet, but doesn't look it. Still, I had doubts, too, but it's on the up and up. I work with this girl, and bro, she pulls down $15K a month from this shit. $15K, seriously, as a heart attack. Plus, the guys tip generously. Do they ever expect extras? I whispered the last word as if someone respectable driving past might hear me and be aghast. I mean, yeah, some do. I just say no. If they insist, threaten to hit the button on your bracelet. If that doesn't work, we call in Brendan. So far, no one has done anything but look and compliment. You should do it. You've got the body for it, and your apartment is always neat. What do you have to lose? Try it once with me this weekend. I can get you hired on. I'm pretty sure my boss wants to fuck me. Ace, really? I said, disgusted. He gives me the eyes, she said, and I knew she was waggling her immaculate eyebrows on the other end of the call. But, seriously, come on, just until you get on your feet with a real job. I wanted to laugh and say, of course not. I wanted to pretend I was above that line of work. I wanted to believe another decent job was right around the corner. I wanted to believe these things, but I also didn't want to live in my car. I always avoided Ace's advice, and for good reason. She's even agreed with me on that train of thought. But then I remembered where she was versus where I was. She was surviving comfortably in one of the most expensive cities in the country. I was wondering how I could arrange my belongings in my car to achieve good feng shui. Screw it, I said. Let's do it. Oh my god. For real, for real. She squealed. I'll set up a meeting with my boss today. Wear something slutty but not too slutty. Think cocktail slutty. Cocktail slutty. Classy but shows off all the goods in a way where, if the waiter gave you the eyes, you'd fuck them in the walk-in freezer. Cheese and rice. Ace. For the record, I've never done that either. 2 days later, I met with Mitch, the boss at Dirty Dusters. My interview consisted of him looking me over, nodding, and saying, yeah, you'll do well here. I filled out the required paperwork, reviewed the safety procedures, and was given my uniform, a t-shirt with a sexy maid silhouette and the words, Dirty Dusters. We reach all the hard spots in sparkly script. Ace was thrilled and gave me the rundown. Things to avoid. Things to do. It mostly boiled down to being friendly, doing some cleaning, and baring your chest. Simple enough. I was nervous, but Ace assured me that, after 5 minutes, you forget you're topless. It's like people on reality shows. A day in, and you forget there are cameras everywhere. She had a point, but my brain focused on the thought that maybe some of these guys have cameras all over. I brought it up to Ace. She looked at me, took a sip from her iced coffee and jostled it. Well, all our nudes will be leaked at some point. Mitch had booked a job for Saturday evening. Some geezer in an empty mansion wants some jiggles on his way out. He paid up front, double what we quoted. Just wants to see titties one more time before he kicks the bucket. Kinda romantic, right? We got to the house near sunset. It was in the foothills and, even then, off the beaten path. The driveway was nearly a mile from the road and lined with beautiful blooming jacaranda. Fallen purple flowers covered the entire driveway. It smelled like a perfume factory. You felt the house before you saw it. The aura was so powerful that it poked through those tree branches and struck at your soul. The pull of old money. I felt out of sorts. I've been around well-off people before, been in houses that I'd kill to live in, but nothing moved me like this. It was like being struck dumb by a painting in a museum. You froze, taking in every detail, and let the emotions, vibes, and sensations wash over you. Dramatic, I know, but the whole place was frickin' wild. Ace looked at the house and whistled. Fuck, this is way nicer than my place. You live in a studio apartment. A shitty one at that. This is some Spanish, Downton Abbey shit. Think he has management? If he did, I don't think he would have hired us. Ace chomped loudly on her gum and laughed. True. If he liked dudes, this place would be wall-to-wall with balls 24/7. Guys are easy that way. The house took my breath away. When you live on the bleeding edge of poverty, seeing anything this valuable is a grim reminder of where you're coming from and how far you are from your dreams. A cruel hope. I was staring at a hacienda-style colossus that didn't look constructed as much as it looked conjured from a magician. Violently pretty red bougainvillea climbed the white stucco walls, looking like floral veins bleeding everywhere. A yawning archway opened into an elegant two-tiered courtyard stuffed full of green plants. Above the archway, several balconies were adorned with wrought iron sides. It looks like a face, Ace said, pointing. The balconies are the eyes, and the arch is the mouth. Does that mean we're getting swallowed? Don't be gross, freak, Ace mocked. The clanking of another car came puttering up the drive. Crammed behind the wheel of a Mini Cooper was our bodyguard, Brendan. The minuscule car almost jumped off the ground as he exited. Brendan looked the part. Tall, bulky, bald, and covered in tattoos. Who owns this place? Willy Wonka. Fuck brr, people got too much money. Brendan, this is my bestie and newest dirty duster. Beth. Protect her at all costs. Brendan nodded. Ace blew him a kiss, and I gave him a weird half-wave. He posted up in the courtyard and made himself noticeable to anyone. He pulled out a vape and took an aggressive hit, as he blew out a plume of smoke that made his head disappear. Ace knocked on the door. I don't know who I expected to open the door. If TV and movies had been true, a stuffy personal valet would have answered and given us a courtesy bow before whisking us into the house. A real Mr. Jeeves kinda moment. That's not what we got. Instead, the heavy wooden door unlatched from the inside and swung open. There wasn't anyone standing there. I looked at Ace, and she nodded up. The setting sun reflecting off a camera lens. We were being watched. I mean, that's what we're hired to do, but if there were cameras here, then there were cameras everywhere. What the hell? Ace said, walking inside and plucking a handwritten note off the wall. I entered behind her, and as soon as my butt cleared the door, it swung closed. I let out a little yelp and damn near jumped out of my sparkly shirt. As I did, my feet became tangled, and I went but over tea kettle and crashed to the ground. Control yourself, girl, Ace laughed. She reached down and helped me to my feet. What does it say? Ace cleared her throat and put on a rich man's voice. Ladies, thank you for agreeing to this work. I understand it may seem silly or even perverted for a man of my age to use your services, but I assure you, I am neither. Feel free to change in the nearby bedroom and follow the illuminated sconces to the first room. Sorry about the front door. It slams closed. It doesn't say that. She held the note up. She wasn't lying. He should have put this note on the front door. Come on, let's get ready. We entered the closest bedroom and stripped down. I looked over and Ace was slathering glitter across the top of her chest. She offered it to me, and I took it. In for a penny. What the hell kind of freaky picture is this? The painting was of a faceless man holding a lantern over an open grave. Dozens of fingers from unseen people inside the grave clutched against the dirt. At least, I thought they were fingers. They had nails but one too many knuckles. Fingers, bent at impossible angles. Even the faceless man's hands looked incomplete. It was like the artist had only heard about fingers from myths and legends. That's concerning, right? The janky way they painted those fingers or the figure, hiding in the background. Ace walked up to the painting and pointed at the section right above the lantern's handle. In the dark, see it. If she hadn't pointed it out, I never would have noticed. But, among the dark background was the faint blue outline of a man. Hiding, watching. My inner alarms blared. Maybe we should go. This is odd. I've glittered the girls already. We have Brendan outside, she said, snapping the emergency bracelet on her wrist, and we have an eye in the sky. We're gonna be okay. This painting is fucking strange. I agree, but rich people can afford to buy weird, expensive art. That doesn't mean we're in danger. You think I'd stick around here if I thought I was in danger? I'm just jittery, not shocking. This is something way outside your comfort zone. It's natural, especially for someone like you. Someone like me. She put her hand on her hip and cocked her head. Do I really need to get into this? You don't even swear, and you're about to show some random old guy your boobs. I don't need to be Sherlock Holmes to figure out where this energy is coming from. Holmes, I said. With AL. She threw up her middle finger. Couldn't blame her. I even found that obnoxious. I exhaled and recentered myself. Ace was right. I was nervous. I was outside my comfort zone. I am a tightly wound bundle of nerves. We had cover. We were fine. Look, if you're feeling unsure, it's no problem if you want to split. I can handle this solo. If every room is this spotless, I'm gonna do more dancing than cleaning. Besides, I think Brendan wouldn't mind the company. He loves to talk about something called Warhammer. No, I'm good, I said, nervously smoothing out my maid's tutu. Just because a few odd things occurred doesn't mean they're related. Causation does not equal correlation, right? Ace blew a huge pink bubble and let it pop. You need more glitter on your tits. We followed the lit sconces down a long hallway. They would ignite as we approached and extinguish as we passed. It felt very theme parkish. Disney World by way of Edgar Allan Poe. The lights stopped at the first room. Another note was waiting. Ace grabbed it. I may enter the room at some point to retrieve some documents. Please do not be alarmed by my presence. I will leave you to your work. Don't be alarmed by my presence. Fancy way of saying respect me, bitches. I say it to people all the time. I'm aware. I've gone out drinking with you. Remember when you threatened to beat up that guy at Checkpoint Charlie's? He's lucky his friends held him back. I would have rocked his shit. My Muay Thai classes aren't just for photos. To be fair, you do take a lot of photos at Muay Thai. Yeah, because I look hot as shit, she said with a wink. She opened the door, and the smell of ancient books flooded out. My smile was so wide, it made my face hurt. Every inch of wall space, from floor to ceiling, was filled with bookshelves. The room was lit by dozens of blazing candles and a lit fireplace. The books were leather-bound tomes with names I'd never heard of before. Most were in a language I'd never seen. Incredible, I said, running my fingers along the spines. Think, he's read them all. No, an ever-growing torrid pile is what prompts most people to buy shelves in the first place. I pulled one down. The title was written in what can best be described as an elegant chicken scratch. I opened the book and breathed in the scent. I felt my heart flutter. For the first time since I took this job, I felt joy. Interesting book you have chosen. We both froze. The voice came from somewhere in the room. Ace and I scanned, but didn't see another person hiding in the shadows. I looked to the ceiling but failed to find the telltale reflection of a camera lens. Do you recognize the language of that book? I looked down at the cover. It looked foreign to this planet. I traced the words with my finger and tried to sound them out. The words tripped and fell out of my mouth. I thought of the Voynich manuscript. Was this another one of those? Janet, how about you? I said, staring at Ace. Dirty Dusters preferred that we use fake names with all clients. Not an uncommon practice in the stripper or restaurant spaces. Ace was Janet today. I was Cindy. Neither name fit our personalities. But I think that was the point. Nope, I'm just here to clean and jiggle. Please clean, Janet. You have a natural ability for it. I could tell that Ace took offense to that, but she was on the job. Tips mattered. She smiled, did a mocking little jump that set her moving, and started dusting the nearest shelf. We locked eyes, and I could see the red on her face. Nobody liked being talked down to, let alone for a paycheck. I gave her a subtle nod. She winked back. Conversations in facial tics. We were experts at it. Open the book, the voice said. It was at that moment that what felt off about this entire conversation clicked. This voice wasn't that of an old man. Tell me what you see. Are you the client? I work with the client. He likes to watch but rarely speaks, the voice said. Now, open the book. Tell me what you see. I randomly opened to a page somewhere in the middle. More elegant chicken scratch filled the right side. Even the punctuation was radically different from ours. What really caught my eye was the artwork. On the left side, it was an etching of a box hovering above 10 open holes in the ground. Extending from the box were 10 elongated arms, almost human-like, but there were 2 elbow joints. Each disappeared into a corresponding hole. Some arms were red, some yellow, and a few were green. The style was like the piece we'd seen earlier, just unsettling. I hated it. Do you like the artwork? The client created it. Why? Someone asked him to who? His muse, of course. You could hear the smirk in his voice. Ace stopped dancing and came over to get a glance at the art. Her face couldn't hide her repulsion. She leaned in close and mumbled, "Rich people love ugly shit, huh?"